of sitting on a bike seat, you're like sitting in a chair, you see a crazy guy sort of coming by.
You're not biking like this, you're biking like that. It's so much easier on your body.
I believe it.
Sitting on that saddle, especially for guys, there's a nerve that runs up your crotch.
No.
That when you sit on that and you pound on it, basically it turns everything from your belly button down numb.
Huh.
It's the weirdest, most disturbing feeling you've ever had. Because, like when you go to the bathroom, you know, it's like you're somebody else.
I ride a bike a lot, and
I do too, but mine's got that big fat seat on it. It's the Earth Cruiser. I cruise.
Touring bike.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's just when you have that much time in the saddle.
Oh no, I know.
Every cyclist, it happens to everybody.
The spinning classes, I've done those several times. Whew. And you're up and down out of the saddle so many times that's not very much fun.
But no, we actually were amazed at how friendly people were all across the U.S. Big cities, little cities. People were wonderful.
Huh. You want to watch the video?
I'm ready if you guys are.
Well, this is just the football clip.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get started.
Now this made me cry 3 separate times, guys, by the way, and I'm an emotional person.
You watched the whole movie?
Yeah. And that was multiple times. Do you have the speakers page to turn it up? Because, by the way, guys, I'm recording this so that I can show future people
Johnny, where's your volume on this?
what transpires in this.
Right there, third button.
It's probably about as high as it's going to go.
Of your heart. Your attitude stinks. It means your heart's not right. What?
Do we have the external speakers?
How's your attitude, Brock?
Downstairs.
It's fine.
And you'll be okay with the death crawl, right? All right, everybody on the goal line, get started. Let's go. All right, let's go. Show me something. 10 yards. Move it. Let's go, Matt. Let's go, Jonathan. Show me something. 10 yards. Show me some power. No knees. Keep your knees off the ground. Show me something. There we go. 10 yards. Show me some muscle. Show me some power. Give me some heart.
I'll go
Let's
for
go.
that.
Very good.
For the next
Very
part,
good.
so.
Put it back. So, Coach, how's Coach Westview this year?
A lot stronger than we are.
You already written Friday night down as a loss, Brock?
Well, not if I knew we could beat them.
Come here, Brock. You too, Jeremy.
What am I doing now?
Not yet. I want to see you do the death crawl again, except I want to see your absolute best.
What, you want me to go to the 30?
I think you can go to 50.
The 50? I can go to the 50 if nobody's on my back.
I think you can do it with Jeremy on your back, but even if you can, I want you to promise me you're going to do your best.
All right.
Your best.
Okay.
You going to give me your best?
I'm going to give you my best.
All right, one more thing. I want you to do a blindfold.
Why?
Because I want you to give it up at a certain point when you can go further. Get down. Jeremy, get on his back. I did a good tight hold, Jeremy. All right. Let's go, Brock. Keep your knees off the ground. Just your hands and feet. There you go. A little bit left. There you go. Show me good effort. That way, Brock. Keep coming. There you go. It's a good start. A little bit left. A little bit left. There you go, Brock. Good strength. That's it, Brock. That's it. Not in the 20 yet. Forget the 20. You give me your best. You keep going. That's it. Now, don't stop, Brock. You got more in you than straight, but don't you give up on me, Brock. You keep going, you hear me? You keep going, you're doing good. You keep going. Do not quit on me. You keep going. I know it hurts. You keep going. You keep going. It's all hard from here. 30 more steps. You keep going, Brock. Come on. Keep going. And let it
I still get teary-eyed watching it now.
Me too.
You keep going, Brock. Come on. Come on. Keep going. You probably your best. Your best. Don't stop. Keep going. It's not too hard. You keep going. Come on, Brock. Give me more. Give me more. Keep going. 20 more steps. 20 more. Keep going, Brock. Give me your best. Don't quit. No. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Don't quit. Don't quit. Don't quit. Brock Kelly, you don't quit. Keep going. Keep going. Go, Brock Kelly. You don't quit on me. No, you keep going. You keep going. Go, Brock. 10 more steps. 10 more. 10 more. 10 more. Keep going. Don't quit. Give me your heart. Oh, you can. You can. 5 more. 5 more. Come on, Brock. Come on. Don't quit. Don't quit. Come on, Brock. 2 more. 1 more. Look up, Brock. You're in the end zone. Brock, you are the most influential player on this team. If you walk around defeated, so will they. Don't tell me you can't give me more than what I've been seeing. You just carried a 140-pound man across this whole field in your arms. Brock, I need you. God's gifted you with the ability of leadership. Don't waste it. Can I count on you? Yes. What is it, Jeremy?
Power 160.
All right. Who next?
Isn't that so good?
Yeah,
That's wonderful,
I'd like to
yeah.
talk a little bit about that if I could, guys, while it's
Sure.
still on top of our mind, and why it means so much to me personally, and if anybody else wants to join in and tell them if there's any stories behind it, because a lot of it, for me, it has to deal with, you know, obviously growing up the way that I did and being told that I could never amount to much, and lo and behold, even, you know, every day that we get tested. And back inside the back of my mind, we all have some influential person or spirit or something that keeps us moving as entrepreneurs. I see the football players as being part of my family, people that are working in my group, and that drive, that coach, is somebody that we all need. And I get that not only from my different coaches, but also from you guys. And it's that accountability, that somebody holding you accountable when you think that when you can't do something, there's always a will and a way that you can if you've got people behind you supporting you. And the other point to it is that I really liked is the blindfolding aspect of it, because we see things a lot of times because we're told by our family, we're told by our peers, we're told by just about everybody out there that we're not capable, we're not good enough, whatever the case may be. We've all felt that at some point in our life. And it just strikes home with me just really, really hard. I mean, I can't help but to watch it and tear up just for the simple fact of knowing that anything's possible if you, and this is where because I'm dyslexic, so I think to myself, anything's possible if you're dumb enough to think that it is possible, you know, because as soon as we start thinking that it's impossible,
You set up barriers.
yeah, and it'll never happen. You know, it does go back to some of the books and some of the philosophies, but that to me just really hits home. Does anybody else want to have any topics on that they felt like what they got out of it?
I think that he was setting him up because he's obviously the leader of the team, and he wasn't using his abilities, what he's good at, what he's the best at, to the best of his ability. He was just letting it slide because of all the things that you just said. But it's just the same way in the office. If one person comes in and it happens to be the person who's the leader, and they don't have any faith or any excitement or any drive, then everyone around them is like a disease.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the same way.
And by doing something positive, by showing the impossible
In front of everybody.
by that leader being the entrepreneur, essentially.
Great movie. Watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Well, as a father of an extraordinarily bright and intelligent young boy,
And I can admit to that.
I see that Nicholas, if it's not easy, he doesn't want to do it, because he is so good at so many things and he just come effortlessly to it, that if he actually has to work at something, he doesn't want to do it. And the biggest lesson that the biggest thing I got out of that is a reflection of a life lesson that discomfort is a natural way of life for the entrepreneur. If you're not, when you are growing, part of the price you pay is discomfort. When you stretch your body, when you run a marathon, you endure knowingly. You go into it saying, this is not going to be pleasant necessarily all the time.
You're right. I mean, I remember standing at the start line going, "Oh, this is gonna suck."
Right.
Even better than that, Johnny.
This is really gonna suck.
Tell them about what you showed me with your wrestling stuff. I mean, do y'all know about his history?
No.
I was.
I mean, that goes right along with it.
Pretty good wrestler in high school and ranked number 2.
You don't have the article with you?
I don't keep it.
Like I do in my.
I don't keep it like Paige keeps her whole high school thing out. But they did a special interest piece on me about the loss of hand and all that other stuff. But for one reason or another,
Did anybody tell you that you in your when you went to apply for coaching? I know that you were very athletic and still are. But did you have naysayers? Did you have people
apply for
when you went to go for wrestling? When you went to go sign
Try
up?
out when you try out.
Well, when I first started, I started as a sophomore in high school and not as a freshman. My brother started when he was in 8th grade, and my senior year, his freshman year, all the way through when I was in college, when he was in high school, I beat him all over the place, and we're about the same size, same weight class, but he was the one that got a scholarship. But there were always people that in weigh-in that would say, "Are you kidding me?" But Wando, we were a little different because the guy who wrestled 2 weight classes below me had a deformed arm. So he had a short arm, and then there's me. So it was like we were the short bus wrestling team, and we would just blast everybody that we wrestled. And I think a lot of people initially looked at it negatively, but it was just an obstacle that I had personally. It wasn't an obstacle that, I guess at some level I kind of took advantage of it because they weren't expecting me, to.
That's not taking advantage of it.
Well,
they were on their side. They were mentally let down a little bit. They didn't walk in until the second time we wrestled. That the state champion and we were all but they should have had ropes and a ring and boxing gloves. When we wrestled, because we wrestled 7 times in 2 years. He beat me 4 times. I beat him 3, and it was almost like a knockdown drag out every time we wrestled. But it was just one of those. There were a lot when I first tried it. Now, when I try out for football, there were a lot of.
Tell us, just a brief story how that.
Well,
because I like hearing the stories about
I typically played defense, and they're like, one-handed guy playing defense really isn't what we want. And I was never really scared to run into people or run over people, and they put me on the kickoff team, and I was the nut that ran down and
Just like
and
bulldoze
hit the
people.
4 people that are
Like
like
a
setting up
like
the
a
wall.
bowling ball.
They're like, okay, we're gonna call you the basher. I was like, that's what you call me. Just tell me what I need to do, and I would just run down and let the prettier people make the tackles. But my job was to take up as many bodies as I could.
Just knock them down.
Run into
You
them.
could take somebody down with one arm.
Yeah,
Trust
I mean,
me,
it
I'm
was-
sure
it
you
was
should
tackling,
see them. On the
but-
pictures, I was like,
I saw him.
Well, you saw some, and those are just the ones that I found, and but there were better pictures than that. But yeah, it was just one of those things that it was a barrier. It was, I kind of had this saying that I really hadn't used at all. It's kind of like aim high or shoot high, but or aim high but shoot higher kind of thing, or aim high and shoot high but go higher, I guess is a better way of saying it. That, you have a set of goals and you always try to exceed those goals, I guess. But I just, that's kind of where I sat.
how about you? I've seen you get a little bit like me over there.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a motivating portion. I had my soccer coach was a retired full colonel from, shall we say, diligent work in the Pacific.
Okay.
And in fact, he ended up in Yamagata Prefecture as the head during our occupation there. But it's like the day before we started practicing for soccer, he was told that he was going to be the soccer coach. He didn't know soccer from anything. So he got a book from the library that night, read it through the night, and the next thing I know, we're out there, okay, 10 laps to warm up. And you run around a soccer
warm
field
up,
10
yeah.
times to warm up.
You
That's
knew
2 miles.
right there.
That's 2 miles right there.
And I'm saying, gee, this is going to be fun. And then he said, and any slackers are going to do my course. And we knew what that was. Armored vest with extra 5-pound weights. And then we run from the school down the dirt road to the Rappahannock River and then run back
And
up.
where was this at? Where?
This was a boarding school called Christ Church Episcopal near, what's it called, Urbana. It's east of Richmond.
Okay.
And that's because I had not excelled in a previous environment. They said, you need to go to boarding school.
Been there.
Uh-oh.
Been there.
That was exciting. And one other thing that came to mind was I got out of the Air Force. Did 8 years there, 2 trips to Nam.
Okay.
Anyway, got out of that. I wanted to do something entirely different. So I took up scuba diving. We go from aircraft to underwater. And I went through a sport diving college in San Diego for National Association of Skin Diving Schools. Well, the 2 instructors were former Navy SEALs. One of the qualification things early on, we went down to Kellogg Beach in La Jolla. Gorgeous place, and if you like vintage cars, just go there and stand on a corner and watch them drive.
Where was
by.
this at?
La Jolla, California, near San Diego.
Oh, neat.
Okay, but Kellogg Beach. And you start from Kellogg Beach, and then you run down, you're carrying your mast, your fins, and snorkel. You run down to Scripps Pier. You swim through the waves, go out to the end of the pier. And
The water isn't very cold. I mean, very warm, is it?
no, it's not very warm. But and then you come back, and then you run back, and he says, now before you guys start, the last 2 do it again.
There's a motivator.
So, and I'm going, Zemos. And he went in the Navy, his name was Zemostopoulos, and the Navy guy just said, man, too long, we're going to call you Zemos. And they made his name, that was his nameplate, that was it. But we get down there and we're swimming out through the waves, and the only thing I'm thinking, the largest great white ever caught on rod and reel, this was 1970, 75, 76, was caught at the end of Scripps Pier. And that's the only thing that's going to be, man, I am making some tracks around that school.
I bet.
I was not last. I was not second to last. I did not have to do that again.
Good.
That was interesting. But motivation, we have to create it within ourselves.
Yeah.
Even if it's externally applied by significant others.
Mm-hmm.
It all comes from within. That was the point that I was making last month when I said you can't motivate unmotivated people. You've got to. You can help bring it out. Sometimes a good coach. Michael Jordan had a coach, and Michael Jordan, in my mind, was probably the most gifted
He is
basketball. I mean,
You just hit my
yeah.
call button.
Yeah, I mean, you
He's the best
just
player.
watch him. This guy could actually move
He got cut.
sideways in midair.
He was cut from his high school tryout.
Yeah. I mean,
His
it's just
sophomore year in high school.
crazy. But as good as Michael was, he always had a coach. Now,
His dad.
Tiger Woods
Mm-hmm.
has a coach. All top athletes have a coach. Why is that? Because a good coach helps you perform
focused.
beyond yourself. Because and this was a great proof that we are capable. Each and every one of us are capable of far more than we think we are capable of.
Oh yeah.
And it always takes, I don't know that there's anyone who can bring that out of their own self. It always takes somebody outside to help bring it out of you.
Maybe a spark, but they still have core leaders.
See, there you go. It takes a great coach and the coach can't be like my high school swim coach.
Does anybody else care for any coffee?
Yes,
So-
yes. Okay,
Sounds nice.
all of them, all of us.
Well, I kind of think
I'll have that.
motivation is
Thank you.
short term.
You
And
can-
what
yeah.
motivation does is it's kind of like ignition, or it's kind of like motivation gets people to move in a direction. And if you give somebody enough motivation, you give them a way of doing something, and they have the opportunity to be successful. The success becomes
The motivation.
the motivation, and they're motivated by success. You know, when
recognition.
when my buddy asked me, or not really asked me, told me that we needed to run a marathon, I was not very motivated to run a marathon. Not very motivated to run more than half an hour at a time. But after I become motivated long enough to run 20
From the parking
minutes
lot to the bar.
to a half an hour to an hour, the success of being able to run that long without just dying, or stopping asking for oxygen, becomes a motivation because I have the confidence to run. We were on a conversation. Everybody knows that I went up to and I didn't run the entire marathon. I ran 14 miles and stepped off the course. I feel like I probably could have run it, but I didn't have the confidence to do it because I had not set myself up to be successful in running a marathon because I had not put in the time. In my mind, I hadn't put in the time. Mark, on the other hand, had put in the time, and he had the confidence to not step off, and he finished.
But
and
even
we were
14 miles is
14 miles is 2 hours of running. And I was on a sub 4 hour pace, but I felt like I was not given the tools, meaning I had not put in the time and the time on my legs to do 26 miles, and I stepped off the course because
Was it
that's where
your
it was.
internal belief system?
It was my internal belief, and after I stepped off of it, 20 minutes afterwards, I'm like, I probably could get back on and go ahead and run the rest of it, and not a 4 hour marathon. I think I probably could have done it in 5.5 hours because it would have been, the last probably 8 miles or so would have been a run and a walk, but. I didn't have the internal belief and the internal structure, and didn't have the successes of running when you train for a marathon, you run, and then you run in your running time, your running distance is like this on a week-to-week basis,
Right.
and you don't ramp up to 26 miles and stay at 26 miles. That's just too much on your body. You don't. When you're in business, you have to have downtime. Just like when you're running, you have to have downtime.
So when you train for a marathon, you run
You
short
run-
spurts and then long spurts.
Yeah,
and
you
short
run
spurts and then
typically.
long
You
spurts.
run 3 miles, 3 miles, 3 miles. Long. It's a 3-month process to build up to running 26 miles. The first week you're putting in about 12 miles. The second week total you'll put in about I think 16 miles, which your long run will be 3 miles longer than your. I mean, and it's a process.
I ran the
And
bridge run.
we kind of touched on it last night, where success is not an event. Success is a process.
Mm-hmm.
Running a marathon is not an event. Running a marathon is a process because it's what you do for 3 months prior to that morning. For Mark, the hardest thing for him that day was actually us getting up at 4:30 in the morning and being at the start.
Yeah.
And just getting there was the most
Yeah.
difficult part, because he had the confidence to know that he had done everything he was supposed to do, other than the fact that he had a stress fracture. He ran 26 miles with a stress fracture in his left leg, but he had the confidence to finish and run 26 miles. I mean, what does that do for motivation?
Let me ask you this on a different note. The things that motivate me to overachieve and to do things that to a lot of people seem impossible. How do you stay up for 48 hours? How do you, when you start a project and you can do 500 million things at one time, even though that we know that that's not the highest and best use of my time all the time, but that's the way that God's wired me. What makes entrepreneurs go that extra mile? What is it inside of them? Is it something that's instilled? Is it something that's innate? I know for me, I hear my grandfather's voice. I mean, he fought in the Korean War, and he was a jarhead, and also World War II. I'm going to turn a tire and battery here. That's his voice. Every time I hear him telling me to keep going farther and farther, and that's why I keep tearing up. Because for him, he was a big, and not to say that my parents and the other people, but he was a huge role model. This guy who could put his life on the line, and I wanted to tell you thank you earlier, and I didn't think it was appropriate at that time for your service. For somebody to do something like that, and then still come back and to still be able to communicate with everybody else, and regardless of what he wanted to do, he always made sure things got done, and he always made sure that I always lived up to what I told him that I was going to do. Now, he spoiled the crap out of the rest of my family, but he was very, very, very tough on me. If
You were a boy. I mean, there was.
But I had my cousin.
But let me ask you: Did you ask for it, and not?
Did you listen when he was talking?
Overtly,
You
not
listened.
overtly say, "I want you to challenge me," but did you
Participate.
Did you have the
cooperate.
confidence? Did you show the confidence in yourself that he knew that if
Yeah.
you know?
I think it's something that's
Well,
born.
I
What he
think
was,
it's innate.
what he was
I
priming
think-
me to, what he was doing to me by digging up a whole tree and giving my sister for cutting the grass or moving 1-2 things. If I wanted $20 to buy something, and even back then $20 was a lot. He taught me how to be an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he taught me if I wanted something in life, damn it, you've got to work for it. There's nothing ever going to be given to you. And I would see on the side he would be giving stuff to my sisters and my cousins and stuff, and even my family. And not that I wanted something from him, but one thing he gave me was love.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me a lot of that. But the most invaluable lesson that I'd like to just to say, and I hope and I'm sure that he is that he taught me that not to sit back and wait for it to happen. Make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what anybody tells you, you can do anything that you set your mind to. That you create the reality around you. If you want to live a miserable life and don't want to succeed in life, that's fine. By him giving all the stuff to my sisters and all that, made me a stronger person by saying,
He was trying to teach you how to be a man.
at a very young age. And I did door-to-door sales, all because I wanted to implement my grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he's no longer here now. everybody needs role models, and for me now it's
Sure.
moved to Dan Kennedy and a couple of the other people, as well as my wife and God and all you guys. I mean, being able to sit around a mastermind group, it builds that for you, and not having that there, God knows where I would be at, not knowing that people believe in me even when I don't believe in myself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The mastermind group principle is the oldest and, in my mind, the most powerful success tool ever. Simply because none of us are as smart as all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter how smart you are, we're all smarter together. And that every example of an extraordinary human being or people who've done extraordinary things have surrounded themselves with other extraordinary people.
Yep.
Thomas Edison and Henry Ford. Henry Ford, I don't know if you heard about this, but Henry Ford, one time his Thomas Edison's factory burned down to the ground with smoking ashes, and within 24 hours, Henry Ford gave him a loan of $1 million and said, build it.
Wow.
We need you in business. Refused to take interest on it. Pay it back when you can. Now, I don't know about you, but that pretty much is a vote of confidence to me. Think about what would happen. This is what a mastermind will do for you. If you have some catastrophe, and somebody comes up to you and says, here, take what you need, do whatever you need. We're here because we need you. That's how can that not bolster you and fill your wings? If the wind dies, that's okay because other people will fill your wings.
Yep. And Napoleon Hill and
Andrew Carnegie.
Yep. All of them had masterminds groups together on a weekly basis, by the way.
That's right.
Unless they were out of town. We're going to go ahead and start the other video, guys. I really appreciate sharing that with you and sharing your insights, both with me and with you guys.
I don't know how I became an entrepreneur. Well, I kind of know how I did. But my brother is not. My parents are not. It just kind of ended up that way.
I could give you some.
Why? I know why. I mean, I wanted to go to the movies with Greg and his sister, and my dad didn't have the money. So they'd go cut a yard.
I'll be back in a minute.
Paige, can you tell us what we're watching, baby?
Yes, this is how to create an extraordinary business. And that's what the sheets are that I gave you.
One-on-one, then tell me what you mean by extraordinary. I mean, do you mean
You hear that?
like extraordinary profit? Do you mean extraordinary size and scope? And one may not necessarily be congruent with the
Offer
other.
a network.
Like I have clients who are compulsive empire builders. Okay? And they are not happy unless, Bill said yesterday he swore he was, what was the number you were never going to have again? 5? More than 5 employees. Okay? And kicking and screaming and putting on the brakes, it's 11. Okay? Well, that's control.
Trying to get rid of the screen?
Aren't happy.
It'll go away, I think.
If they're not
If you hit the
30,
X.
then 60,
See that X
then
on the
90.
right-hand
They're
side?
measuring their success in
Yeah.
square
The
footage
small one
and number of steps.
down below it.
And that's
The
okay.
white column.
If that's how you
Right there?
define
There should
what
be an
you
X at
want.
the top.
If you're doing it conscious,
Sorry. That box right there that you just clicked into should disappear.
Oh, Lord.
And Paige, this video does go with the handouts that we've got right now, right? And we're doing.
Might have that connected to it. You are. This is this way.
This is one of my favorites.